Okay, and we are live. All right, everyone, welcome to one of the best days of the week, Wednesday. Masculine Geek number 91. Special guest, Mr. Bryan M. Bowden. Here he is. He is going to talk to us about monsters, myths, and in particular, the Jersey Devil. So,
Yes.
Mr. Bowden has a rather illustrious background. I mean, he's a poet, a musician, UFOs, cryptids, paranormal investigations. You got your start in architectural design. So, there's a lot going on. I'm going to
There's a ton of it.
I'm going to let you. This is you're the
There's too
guest.
much.
No, never too much. I'm going to let you take over the reins, and here we go.
There's a lot. Every time I do something, I kind of try to wiggle it into what I have, the space I have. And my buddy that started the Bronxville Paranormal Society, which I'm like the number 2 guy. Now I'm kind of number 1. He's semi-retired. Al's like, yet another paragraph. He never lets me live it down. It's like, I want to show the regression of how it started, and it was always there, but the things I had to go through to get to, really. Thankfully doing this on the side a lot. We get calls 24/7, and there he is.
Hi there.
Yes,
just in time.
No, you're not. It's not just in time. You're late, motherfucker.
What time is it?
It's after 9.
God damn it!
You're close there, laddie.
That's right.
So I did a whole different thing. I studied a lot of science growing up. I was very interested in science. I was so interested in science. I had a buddy here in the neighborhood where I live growing up. We started our own space station center, the Franklin Delano Roosevelt NASA Center. They never had one before. We called these guys up at like 10 years old, and they sent the guy. I could see the guy right now. Do I want to do my job, or I'll talk to these kids for a couple hours and I can get out early? And they sent us mission patches and photos of Voyager, and we talked about it. We told him we set it up. We did observations. He had a telescope. I didn't have the telescope. And that's how it started. We always started talking about UFOs and aliens and cryptids. When I grew up in the 70s, there was like one show, In Search Of, that actually covered all this stuff. And it was a very weird show, but it was great. And then you had a lot of horror films like Kolchak, which was fantastic. Night Stalker, great series. They really got into it well before X-Files. And then on top of that, you had movies coming out. I mean, I remember the first time I saw in, I think it was 77, when Star Wars came out. Forget it. It was the summer, and all of a sudden the ship comes right over here, and we're just like, I'm in love. It was just awesome. But one of the things I do, I investigate everything. I started off with investigating UFOs because I didn't think Bigfoot lived here. I thought it was Pacific Northwest.
No, he's here.
Guess what, kids?
Old Red Eye.
Really here. Oh, he's here.
Yeah.
And we have a ton of New York State. You guys, Utah's, they got a ton of them there too. But in
down Rob's way,
Jersey, they have. I mean, wherever you basically have deer, you have Bigfoot. But there's a lot of sightings actually in our area. You have two things. You have Bigfoot and something I never wanted to believe in, which was called the Dog Man, which is basically a werewolf. So if you've seen Van Helsing, you've seen the what do you call it? What this thing can be. There's 7 variations of it, going from something that looks a little bit like a Bigfoot all the way up to something that is totally going to rip your head off, and shit down your neck before eating you. It's real. I did not want to, I didn't think it was real. I thought people were making this stuff up. This is paranormal to make it up. But we started interviewing, talking to people privately about the subject, and we got a couple of people that were bound by secrecy, we'll say, that were talking to us confidentially. They have more to lose than gain, and they start making a picture, and you're like, okay, maybe this is real, and then had a good experience with, I was about 25 yards from one. We were doing an investigation in Letchworth Village. I think you guys may have heard of it. It's an old 28,000 acre, I'm not going to say an insane asylum, but it was a hospital setting that was there for almost 100 years, where the non-wanted of society, from bastard children to mentally challenged people, physically challenged people, were sent there. They tested the polio vaccine there, and the way they found out a good one was if the person or child didn't die, we got a candidate. So They have a mound that's off on the property. There's over 300 people buried there from age 4 months to like 78. And we were doing an investigation at that one time. And when we got back to the car, it was a little chilly. My buddy kept hearing these howls and strange sounds. And I wasn't focused on cryptids or dogmen at the time. I was focused on EVPs, spirits, that type of stuff. But he was acting a little bit weird, and I heard dogs barking. And when we did like a Bigfoot tree knock and a howl, those dogs shut up.
A Bigfoot tree knock? What's that?
You take a piece of wood and you knock it against a tree and make a knocking sound. They do Sasquatch, Bigfoot, however you want to call them. I don't know what the political correct term is these days, but
you never know.
They use it. Yeah, you have no idea. I prefer hairy, large bipedal. They use signaling. First of all, they're great mimics, so they can mimic vocals. You'll think it's a coyote. It is not a coyote. There's certain tells on their vocalizations. They've mimicked children crying, babies crying. They'll pay attention to the way you're speaking, and they'll almost mimic some of your words. They're very adept at that. But they use rocks to knock together to make sounds to alert where people are or their clan is. And they also got they use sticks, so they'll hit a stick, they'll do a tree knock, and they do it loud. So think of I'm going to say, because it's one of the greatest movies, Roy Hobbs hitting a ball in The Natural. That's that crack of the bat. Gotcha. That's what you're hearing, and then there's a response. So it's like a code back and forth, like we're over here or whatever. But we heard a couple of those things, but as the night was over, we kind of, it was a full moon. The fog started rolling into a cemetery. I'm like, okay, when the hell is this thing going to jump out at this point?
That's the perfect time. Yeah.
Yeah. It was just like, it started set up perfectly. And what happened was it was just too cold. It was like November-ish. We were both cold. We've been there all day long. We started walking back to the car. He drove. He has this little Jeep, and we were parked. He had to walk a little ways to get into where the cemetery is. But when you come out of the cemetery, it's like an old back road. And there's some people living on there. Actually, there was a kid that flew into the cemetery like a bat out of hell when we first got there, because we got there later in the day. And they're looking and they're talking to somebody. And we can't find him. We can't find him. And I said, maybe we should come out and show ourselves to him, maybe so they don't call the cops or whatever. And they're like, what are you doing here? Like, well, we're paranormal investigators. And they go, and then they check back to whoever. They're paranormal investigators. We're out. And they got out. And they did it when it got darker. But it was really weird. The feeling I got on these two guys on this quad runner was, I really don't want to go by myself. Let's get in there, get out, see where these people are, and see what the hell they're doing, because they knew something else was there. That's what I was trying to get to.
They didn't waste any time staying around.
No, not at all. We would say, hey, you want to be interviewed? No. Boom, and they were out. Most people on a Friday, Saturday night in that kind of like rural area, they're bored. Oh, strangers, you want to talk paranormal? Okay, we'll talk. But they were in and out. And then what's interesting is as we were walking back, we walked back to the car, and I noticed a little eye shine. We parked a little bit further away than we normally did. And there's a light just past us a bit, small incandescent bulb, lighting up like another pathway to a nature trail. And we saw eye shine, and we're like, what's that? And it looked, saw the pointed ears and eye shine. It was just sitting there on the passenger side. So I'm on a 3-foot grade. I'm 6'1". Although my stomach doesn't prove that, but if it was a little bit thinner, I'd look a little bit taller, but I am 6'1". We're on a 3-foot grade. It's 3 feet to get down to where this thing is. It's about 25 yards away from me, sitting in the shadows, and I can see the eye shine. I can see it has like a mouth, like a shepherd. It has the pointy ears, and just sitting there. So Al's putting his stuff in the back of his Jeep, and I'm like, it's cold. I have to go relieve myself. I wasn't going to do it on the graves out of respect. I said, I'll do it by the car. So there I am, and I'm a dog person, mind you. I know a lot about dogs and canines. We had them for our whole lives. And I'm watching this thing. He's watching it. Nothing really weird out of the ordinary, just staying there watching us. And I said, and I start peeing in front of it. Now, if you know anything about dogs, here's the deal. When you pee in front of a dog, you're an alpha. You're telling that dog, I'm the boss. You're my bitch. That's
Yep.
the bottom line. So, and it just didn't move. It just stood there, and his eyes were wide. And I'm peeing, and Al's going, "Get in the car, Brian."
You're like,
And
it's not working. It's not working.
It's not working. No, get in the car. And it's just sitting there. Yeah, no, he's like, at one point, as Al's getting into the car, closing it, he goes, "Dude, if you don't get in the car, I'm leaving." This thing lowered. It went down on the ground. It disappeared. 25 yards in front of me. And at that point, right here, this is the tell. When you get the goose flesh, the goose pimple.
Yeah.
Right.
And I felt it at the back, and I said, "It's time to go." And I got it, and we took off. And I think we just took off at the right time. I'm getting yelled at by Al. I'm like, "Don't you ever do that?" I'm like, "I had to pee. I could either pee in your car, or I could pee outside your car. Take your pick." But
it
I think
was an emergency.
Yeah, it was definitely an emergency. And I think we just got out of there where this thing was like, oh, you want to pee in front of me? Okay, let's go challenge. You want to challenge?
Oh, shit.
Because I think these are really intelligent type of beings. These dogmen, werewolves, whatever you want to call them. They love to mess with human beings. There's tons of stories where if you have a front and a back door, they'll be knocking the front door and the back door at 3 a.m. Boom, 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 boom. And you're like, who the hell is this? They'll ring buzzers. They tap on your window to get your attention. They peek in. But even though these things are so massive and can totally kill you and destroy you in an instant, it's kind of like that vampire thing. They never come into your home. They want you to come out. So they're trying to lure you out of your home. Now, I've never understood the logic behind that. There's only times that they will come into your home is if you take a shot at them, you better kill them. And you better kill the one in front of you and the one creeping up behind you. Otherwise, you're done.
Clever girl.
There was, you literally, there was a guy that did that. He was shooting at one. He left. He drove almost like 300 miles back home. They tracked his ass back to his house.
What?
Destroyed it. Yes. He was in a portion. I forgot the actual location because I haven't revisited this case in a while, but I'm just going to use an example. Let's say you were, I don't know, upstate New York, near Hyde Park, and you shot at a dogman there, which you actually can because they are up there. And then you drove down to the Pine Barrens.
Yeah.
Right? You're like, hey, whatever. When he got into his home, they must have been tracking him from the moment he left all the way down because they went like 300 miles to his house and they obliterated it. They obliterated it. This guy, he told the story. I think Vic Cundiff had the story at one point, who's really good at
How do you explain that to insurance? I mean, not for anything.
My wife brought home this cat.
Yeah,
and
it just went nuts. There's a mountain lion. There's a mountain lion.
At that point, I think basically you're just happy to be alive. But that was a message. They came down and they sent the message. In general, if you're going to, I'm trying to catch comments when it comes up as well. But
yeah, there is one there. Whenever you're ready, you can answer that. By the way,
no problem. I'm going backward and forward. But what's very interesting is if you're going to come up, there are teams in the military that are designed to go out, and when they have issues with people, there was a kid that was missing recently, and they cleared the area. I forgot where it was, and the military came in and they took care of it. And they, one of the guys we interviewed he says he's black ops, but he started reeling off stuff with military. And I know people in, the government and their service. And I said, what's this? He goes, oh, that's so-and-so. How'd you know about, when I get to how'd you know about that, it always triggers like, okay, maybe this guy's telling a little bit more of the truth here. But
gotcha.
There's always tales of people, military helicopters coming into an area, dropping in, and then killing whatever, taking it back out, and you're good to go. It happens a lot in national parks when people go missing.
Yeah.
And if they know that they have Bigfoot in the area or a dogman or something like that, you'll see the military stop by, and they're not just circling around to help the crew out. They're doing that purposely. They want to kill what it is because they know exactly what it is.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, it's really, really odd and strange. But I'd rather meet a Bigfoot any day than a dogman. 100%. a horny Bigfoot instead of a dog man. Because most of the ones that go a little bit apeshit are like the ones going through a rut, the older ones. You know, it's like, I'm going to go a little Star Trek on you people, but it's like when Spock every 7 years has to get some, you know, it's the same thing, and they get really crazy. My buddy Al, that I do a lot of investigations with the Bronxville Paranormal, he likes to bring women on these expeditions because it does change up the vibration. Women do, but I always tell him, like, you really got to get personal and say, are you going through your cycle now? Are you, because it becomes a danger to them.
Back off, man. I'm a scientist. Fucking Ghostbusters.
I was just figuring it would be you bring a woman along as insurance because typically they can't run faster than a man. And so when someone's going after them, you just run faster than the woman.
And that's how you maintain the proof.
Well, you know what? It gets to that way. I don't know if this is too bright, gentlemen, but I'm just going to lower it a little bit so I can see my own mug.
No,
but you know, it's a good energy. The last time he did that, he brought 3 women into where we go in upstate New York. We've had a lot of success. I can tell you a great story about that. And he started hearing what he calls monkey chatter, like, you know, like getting excited. And I think one of them may have been on the tail end of their cycle. The other one may be starting or whatever it was. And it's like a dog, pardon the expression, a dog and heat or an animal, and they smell it, and it you know, it's an animal instinct type of thing. So they got a little bit nervous, and he was like, back off, you know, and kind of quelled it. They got out. But yeah, it's pretty interesting stuff you got there.
Is it like elephant musk, or is it, God, what's the state? I think it's a state of musk. Or state of musk. I might be.
I think it's musk, and it's an odor that you give off. It's your pheromones.
Muscape. That's what they call it, a muscape too, right?
So,
yeah.
Right. So, like with dogs. Okay, I'll give you a dog's example. When dogs really stink, it's because of their pads. The bottom of their pads. That's where their scent gland is. So when they're walking,
like wolves.
Yeah. So, and my dog, I had a bull terrier, target dog for you people that know the target dog, and Spuds McKenzie for those that don't. You know, the older generation here. He was great, but he had his full faculties. I wasn't snipping him. He was a show dog, but I used him as a pet. And he would just leave his scent everywhere. You would know when he was like, he'd get in a vehicle. So men and women have the same thing. They have a clone out for both men and women that's supposed to trigger your pheromones, to that attractive pheromone to get you to like, you know, like go after, you know, yeah. What is this?
Cool. Nice.
She smells like bacon. Yes. Which would be pretty good.
Sasquatch musk cologne.
I'm sure they have a Sasquatch soap now, so it's pretty interesting.
There you go. Yeah.
There you go. But that's what really, that's what really gets them jazzed up for the most part. They're a very intelligent creature too. They just want to leave us alone, you know, back off. They're very family oriented, clan wise. It's pretty interesting. I mean, I didn't see the question because it went too quick, but what was
there's one that I have up on the
private
on the banner. It's on the banner. If you look at the actual, if you go to the page, Amos wants to know if you've ever been involved in the SCP Foundation.
No, I have not. I have not been involved in the SCP. I don't even know what the heck the SCP Foundation is. That Sasquatch something?
It might be, yeah.
Police.
I can help with that. The SCP Foundation is effectively a Wikipedia of paranormal stories, if you will.
No, not involved with those guys or stories. I hear a lot. You know, I hear a lot of. We interview a lot of people on a different subject. So we'll get a Bigfoot sightings. We get I'm going to call them Bigfoot sightings. We get dogman sightings. We get rake sightings. Some other strange sightings. You know, different type of cryptids.
Rake.
We get
What's
rake.
a rake?
Rake is something that came out of creepypasta, which is, you know, this human-esque, really white human-esque being with exaggerated long arms and fingers. And there's been a lot of sightings. I mean, I could look it up and try to share.
So kind of like Tall Man, basically. Like
it's the same. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The Tall Man, and that's creepypasta. That's something someone made up. And but for some reason, people are actually seeing these now. That could be, pareidolia, where your brain tries to make sense of something that you're seeing that's not normal.
Yeah, or the power of suggestion too.
Right. I mean, look, there are people who believe in manifestation.
Mm-hmm.
You can manifest these things, and at this point, I don't know. You can't. I don't.
Right.
I've been trying to manifest the Powerball numbers, but that hasn't worked.
It's unsuccessful thus far.
Yes, zero. But I'm just saying that there are some people, and even in some of the Native American tribes, they talk about manifestation, and part of that manifestation in these cryptids, if you get into when they call it a skinwalker or a wendigo, somebody who does really, really evil deeds and disgusting things, kills family members, necrophilia, the whole nine, in order to gain the power of changing and being an uber witch. And you can literally change from what do you call it, from into a human, to a wolf, to a coyote, to an eagle. That's what a lot of those people say happens. I've never seen it. There is a group, I forgot the name of them. I think it's I forgot the nation. Navajos, sorry. There's a group of officers, the Navajo Sheriff's Department, or officers out on the Navajo reservation, and they go out and they deal with these things as well. Okay. And there was one video where they cornered what they believe was a skinwalker, Wendigo type of thing. Jesus, and they saw this thing go behind the bushes. You see some video of it, you can see the eyes, and it got to a point where they got into a choke where it was not going to escape. And what went in is not what came out. What went in looked like a man or something big, and what came out was a coyote, and it took off. It was really odd. Very, very strange. If you can get those guys on this program, you'd love them. I'm trying to get to talk to them on the side, let alone I want to go into the reservation. Yeah, they talk about those changelings right there, where in the creepypasta. But we've had people that have seen on the Taconic Parkway up in New York what looks like a rake. It's this, it usually kind of like, when it walks like on all fours, like almost like it's an animal, but with its it walks on its feet, but its legs are perfectly straight, and it kind of tables out. And it was literally creeping up on a couple of deer that was off the side of the road. And he's looking at this thing while he's driving to work. He's like, really? And he couldn't pull off. But when he came back, he found no blood. He found, no tracks, nothing. But he witnessed it where it walked, and he's like, there's nothing there. So we have those reports. But, we deal with everything. We have people in upstate New York. And actually, we just got a report of a UFO flying over Northwest Connecticut that I was trying to investigate from New York. We have people up there. So, I mean, there's a lot of stuff we investigate. That's great. Someone said they saw Snatch Squatch.
That's always a good
sighting.
I
dated her in high school.
That's always a good sighting.
I married her.
There you go.
Yes.
Let's flip it around to, or take it further south into New Jersey and the Pine Barrens, because I want to talk about the Jersey Devil. So let everyone, because most people, there's maybe one, or Red may know. I mean, I grew up and camped. I have stories myself, so I know about the Jersey Devil. I'm from Leeds Point. I'm probably about an hour and a half from Leeds Point.
Right.
So it's where the Jersey Devil was born. But can you tell us the origins of the Jersey Devil and any latest sightings?
Okay, so the origins of the Jersey Devil is basically in about 1735. Mother Leeds was about to have her 13th child. And she, I mean, that's a lot of kids. Her husband really wasn't, he was a drinker, and he
was a lot of fucking.
Yeah. He wasn't the nicest guy in the world. He comes, he does his thing, and then he goes, and she's raising all these kids. And she basically said, let this child be a devil. She's just had enough of giving birth. And supposedly what happened when she went into labor, she was into the room, and they brought in a midwife and a couple other, I guess, neighbors back then to help with the birth process. And when this thing came out, it had hooves on its feet. It had the head of a horse. It had wings. and horns, and it just. I think from what I remember, it killed everybody in the room, and then, or most people in the room, and scurried up the chimney tree and disappeared. And that was the Jersey Devil's birth. And that's where it all started. And from that point, I mean, there's numerous sightings of this cryptid throughout time. I mean, there's a lot of times when this thing was being, seen throughout the area of like Bowden town. There was a Jersey. Napoleon Bonaparte's older brother, literally in about 1812, he was in Bowden town. Yeah. And he claims he saw the Jersey Devil while he was hunting near his estate. And, and then after that, of course, once a nobleman, cries Jersey Devil, what basically happens is, others start chiming in. I saw it too, they don't realize it's Jim, the town drunk or whatever. But, they basically, it's hoof prints were seen and it flew in the air. I mean, it was, something as they marked it unholy. And then it really picked up in about the 1909. There's about 1,000 different records of people citing the Jersey Devil in a variety of different locations in the Pine Barrens. There's a place, I don't know where it is, I tried to go, but there was a place near Hoover Mills in the Pine Barrens, and there was a Navy commander named Decatur, and he was testing out, he was firing cannons for, I guess, accuracy or whatever. I guess you could do that back then in Jersey, like, hey, let's go out and shoot some cannons, he claims that it was there, and he shot it dead to rights. And he said they put a hole through it, but they could not find the body or any remains of this thing. That was a pretty interesting story. But when you get to the newer ones, and if it's really weird. There's a taxi driver in about 1930 that was driving his cab, and he said that he was changing a tire on the side of the road, and he told him that he encountered this winged creature, and it started pounding on the roof of his car. And it freaked him out. So he was just so freaked out he couldn't really just, basically tell you exactly what it looked like. It was just wings with hooves and red eyes, and it's screaming and it's pounding on his car, like, get out of here type of thing. Scared him to death. He drove off, and that was that. At one point in the 60s, it started picking up again, and they put out like flyers like, we'll give you $250,000 if you bring me the Jersey Devil. I'm like, okay, bring him the Jersey Devil, So, they did that. But more recently would be, I know 70s, 80s. There hasn't been many sightings, actually. There's only, I'll go to the newer ones. There was a guy that was just traveling on the road in Jersey in 1993. Actually, sorry, it was a forest ranger, John Irwin. I'm looking, he's driving along Muckella Road. I forgot where it was. And he saw this strange creature blocking the road in front of him. He said it was about 6 foot tall with horns, matted black fur. And they just stared at each other for a couple of minutes before this thing ran back into the forest. He's never seen anything like that. And if it's a forestry ranger doing that to you, they know what's in these areas here, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So in Jersey, you got bear. You have some forms of cat, right? So you probably have bobcat. You have mountain lion.
No mountain lion, but we have bobcat. Bobcat, yeah.
Bobcat,
and it's only within the past 2 decades we've started to get black bear.
Well, I guess they're
coming down. They're migrating down.
Right.
Yeah.
I think this wasn't too long ago. Well, the days start to be not be.
They blend together now.
Yeah. I don't even know how much time it is, but there was a couple of sightings actually up on in northern New Jersey of what looked like a panther, like a big cat, like a black cat. And they haven't been black cats in this area for hundreds of years. I mean, I think they were extinct, and people they had pictures of this thing, and it sure as heck looked like you would see like a puma or a jaguar. I'll tell you what, I don't want to meet those in the woods. That's a little bit more than what the heck's the guy, that cat show, and I forgot what the hell it was called. Ron Exotic or whatever his name, that's a little bit too much.
Seriously.
But there was a woman that she was in the Smithville Inn.
Right off Route 9, yeah.
Yeah, right on. Yeah, exactly. Right off of Route 9. And she was taking the trash out. And when she was taking the trash out, she just said she felt this eerie feeling around her. She's looking around and she looks up and she sees this thing with like these glowing red eyes and it's staring back at her. And it's like nothing she's ever seen before. She runs back to the house to get back into the inn and trips. Typical movie move, right before the door, and this thing kind of like swoops, and then it flutters its wings and takes off. She never sees it again. But recently, they had a couple of people. I'm trying to get there. I have some of my own notes here. Where was it? There's a guy named guy in Egg Harbor. This is what really got me going to Egg Harbor more than anything else. A gentleman named Dave Black, and he was out. And he was on Route 9 in like Bayville, and there was a couple of cars in front of him, and everybody was forced to slam on the brakes, and they saw a 10-foot tall Jersey Devil figure with a long head, short flat ears, run across the road. And they, people just started freaking out, and of course, I think some people just took off at that point. And one guy was like, questioning the whole thing. But getting back to this guy. Dave Black, he was in Galloway Township, and this is 2015 actually.
That's
as close as you're going to get to something new. It was about October 2015, and he catches something flying on his video camera. It looks like about the size of a Shetland pony. It definitely had wings. It's like a goat. It had horns on the front. But the front, the front mouth area there was like a beak on it, and it's really weird. It's a strange picture. I'm gonna try to. I don't know if I can send it or paste it in here or whatever it is.
If you want to share it on your desktop, I can do that from here. If you can share a screen, I can throw it up.
Let me see if I can. I'm gonna save the image, and I'm gonna go into my JD folder.
There you go. And you can hit the share screen, and I'll throw it up.
Yep. Let me see what I got here. Let me open it up first, and then I'll share the screen.
Sure.
This way, it's here. I'm going to show it right to you. Hold on. Let me go big on this. And I can't go big because then I can't get to it. So there we go. Let me get rid of this preview. Sorry about that.
No worries.
Here, let me go share this screen. Screen share. Okay. Share screen. So, deny Chrome. There, application Chrome tab, your entire screen. Let me go to this one right here.
You can choose application or Chrome tab.
Yeah, I think I went to application. Hold on. Oh, preview. Here it is. I'm sharing preview, and you will see this. Do you see the actual picture yet, or no?
No. What'll happen is it'll come into the studio, and I have to give it permissions to actually show.
Okay, so hold on. So I'm gonna go share screen. I'm gonna go application window preview, and I'm gonna hit share right now. Chrome has lost permission to capture. Follow these steps. Oh my, Mac Catalina. Okay, I have to go open up my permissions. System permissions. Give me 1 second, and I'll get it going. But there is a picture there. Screen recording. Great. How is that? Screen.
We have a boomer moment.
Recording. It's interesting. I do a lot of this stuff. I can't even security and privacy. Oh, there we go. Security and privacy. Please forgive me. It's just I don't. It's funny. I don't normally use StreamYard. We pretty much do our own what do you call it? Our own podcast. We're on Podbean, and so I'm not. We're going to try to do some more these type of things. But
StreamYard has proven to be very effective and functional, and for the most part, easy to use.
And I just gave you. Oh, I would have to quit. I would have to quit Chrome, and I don't want to do that. You know what I could do? I could actually.
You could send it through if you want to send the link through Twitter.
That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to send you the actual picture.
There you go. And then I can share it out. Yeah.
There we go. That's the easiest way.
That's right.
Exactly. So let's make our lives easier. Jesus, I know it came up, and I just sent it to you right now. But it's a pretty interesting photo.
Holy shit!
Yeah, it's really But here's the thing, right? So this thing takes place in
That's pretty funny.
Yeah, it's weird because if you look at it, it has that beak on the front.
Yeah.
It's almost as if now I would have done this to my bull terrier. I painted I used to do crazy stuff with the bull terrier. I hooked him up to my giant kite once, and he got lifted 10 feet off the ground before my wife and the park ranger said, "You can't do that." And he was looking at me like there better be treats involved after this.
Those people who
that is an
people
interesting
who
photo.
ain't fun.
Yes, seriously. But honey, we're gonna make him an alien. But you can see the hooves on the top of its head. You can see like this beakish front, and you can see what looks like wings on it. But the problem is, it was taking place in October. What's October?
Halloween.
It's Halloween.
Yeah.
And you know what? And a lot of people, I'm not denying this guy saw what he saw. I wasn't there for it whatsoever. But it just gives you the opportunity to let's mess around with people. But
absolutely, yeah.
Unfortunately, it's when we do investigation, we read a lot of body language. We gotta kind of look at back, are they making money on this? How can they make money on it? Is it worth their while? And that's how you determine whether somebody is kind of telling you. Telling you.
So what do you think about this one then?
It's very interesting. They did get it on a camera. I wish it was a little bit clearer.
Yeah.
There's another one. There's another video. I mean, I could copy the link right now and probably send you the link or in the chat. I can share it with you or whatever.
Because I could see someone saying, "Oh, you threw a stuffed animal up in the air and shot a photo of it."
But that's my point. I'm not a really it's interesting. I would like it to be, but it doesn't fit any of the criteria because I'm going to try to get you a Jersey Devil actual picture to send you.
Oh yeah, please do. Yeah.
What this thing has been known to look like, and where this is what it's supposedly looking like. Let me get the Jersey Devil for you. It's a really odd. I mean, this is the. I'm going to copy the image address and then I'll just send it to you this way. Hold on 1 second. Okay, I'm just going to save it that way. There we go. Sorry, I have to do it the low technical way, but
that's right.
All these different streaming platforms all have different UXs, and none of them share. None of them share anything between each other.
Well, you know what? It's unfortunate because there's, a lot of people can do some good things with this. I just sent you the wanted poser, but that picture you see there is literally what people have claimed to see as a Jersey Devil. This horse head, or I would say it's more like a goat head, horse hooves in the back, one of those devilish type of spade tails, and like wings.
Cloven hooves.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And you know what? But what's very interesting is somebody caught, and I forgot who it was, 5540. I'm going to send you another one because you know what? I like to share. Awesome. My wife told me to share. So this was caught on a game camera, and this looks more like a Jersey Devil than anything else. Now, when I saw this coming on, and there's actual video, I can't get to it right now, of this thing walking.
Oh, crap.
And what's very interesting is this was a while ago. Yes, people could have photoshopped it. Anytime you show any type of evidence on something like this.
Oh, you photoshopped it.
Photoshop.
Yeah.
Oh, Photoshop. The hell with that. Photoshop.
Yep.
And it's not Photoshop. It's just, it doesn't, it doesn't look photoshopped. I mean, one of the advantages of what I do for our group is I literally have to, I'm the guy that takes all the evidence and checks it out first. And to this day, and I've been investigating for a long time, 30, 40 plus years, really investigating heavy for the last 25. because I was able to get out. You know, when I wasn't dating or something like that, I'm like, "What? I'm bored today. We're gonna play guitar. No, we're not playing guitar tonight. Okay, let's go out. We'll go on an investigation." And you could actually drive to locations and look for these things. We didn't have the equipment as much as they have it now, but I have more and more equipment every day. I always get something interesting. Something we're going to use now. I didn't bring it out, but we're starting to use body cameras, like the cops. It's going to be like a really bad episode of Cops, where everybody's assumed innocent until they're go guilty in a court of law. And the reason why we're going to use body cameras is I want to have body cameras on the front and the back. A lot of these cryptids like to sneak up behind you, and when you're not paying attention. So we're going to try to videotape both angles of this. But that creature you have on the screen right now, that looks like something more like when I hear Jersey Devil, that looks. I mean, I would not really want to meet that in the middle of the woods one night. You know,
correct.
You know, we're going outside to feed your, you know, like whatever cats or foxes or whatever, and all of a sudden you're like, "What the hell is that?"
You wind up losing your cat. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Your cat's done at this point.
Yeah, certainly.
Right.
But
if it is a Photoshop, honestly, they did a pretty good job, because one of the features of anatomy is if you look at winged creatures in general,
right,
their pectorals take up a massive part of their front section. Artists usually miss this when they're trying to design them, but if you're looking at real life, like if you see a bird, the reason their chests are puffed out so much is like that is all pectoral muscles.
Yeah, that's wings, right?
Yeah, if you look down at this creature, the pectorals are like the chest is extended forward.
Yeah,
beyond that of a
hefty.
typical humanoid.
Right. I mean, it's a pretty. I don't. You know, I'm looking at the little wings, the wingspan now. They can be retracted, and they could really open up to like a 6-foot wingspan. It doesn't seem like it, but it doesn't seem too large. An animal. I mean, you can. You know, it's pretty freaky, actually. It's something, you know, that's definitely devilish. I mean, I when I first saw this, I wasn't thinking Jersey Devil as more as I was thinking Chupacabra.
Yeah, I was thinking that myself. Yeah.
You know, yeah, I mean, that's like something more Chupacabra-esque. Although they have it, some people say it looks like a lizard, you know, combination of a lizard and a goat and whatever. They always use goats and everything.
That's really strange.
Well, I don't know. Maybe it's the fact that, like, you know, a lot of religious ceremonies used to use lambs or goats to slaughter. And
that's true too. Yeah.
And then if you go to mythology, you have the satyr and the minotaur and all these different, you know, which is partial goat or some kind of animal. But through my investigations, we went into the Pine Barrens a couple of times. It is a very, very freaky place.
Yeah, it is.
It is really,
especially when you go backpacking and you're where cars and
ding.
Can't go, and you're like, what are these fucking sounds that I'm hearing?
Exactly. And you know, it's just like you're just chilling. It's like, what the hell is going on? But and as long as I'm hearing crickets and sounds, it's still unnerving, but it's good.
Yeah. Everything is somewhat normal.
Yeah.
It's when those stop.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's when those stop. You're deep in the woods. Like you're out near Goshen Pond, which is pretty close to where I am. And you're just out for a nice midnight stroll. Because you've been out camping or whatever, and all of a sudden, like, there's dead silence, and it kind of sounds like the sound of the river, even it's a little bit muted.
And then you hear the wind in the pines and nothing else, and you're like, all right, what's going on?
Yeah.
Well,
something's coming.
Never pleasant.
Yeah.
That is really a clue that something is there that is pretty large and most likely an apex predator, and be it Jersey Devil, or be it Bigfoot, or be it something else. Now, what you have down there, and this is, you know, when I did my we filmed for like 3 to 4.5 hours down in the Pine Barrens, and then we went into some. There was I forgot the name of the recreation. It's over near Egg Harbor. It's like almost like an old recreation home of the period, and it's a museum. And then there's some woods in the area, which is still valid Jersey Devil territory, mind you.
Is that by that old Ocean something View Hotel? On Route 9, off of Route 9.
We stayed at some winery out there at one point, so it's like a couple miles away from this. Oh,
that you're talking about? Crap! Why is it not Valenzano?
Looks like a German villa.
Yeah.
And then you go down this road to get to it, and it's just It's pine tree. It's pine. It's
Oh
everywhere.
yeah, it's
And
desolate. Yeah,
dark.
yeah.
And then you look out your window, and I'm like, I'm in a really bad Scooby-Doo episode right now. I mean, like, I'm waiting. Like, should I be wearing an ascot at this point?
Right.
I stayed at this hotel, and I was telling my wife. She goes, "Well, how is it?" I said, "It's a nice place. It's beautifully done, and it's a vineyard, and they have weddings in the background." But I said it's really creepy. It's just unnerving because there's nothing whatsoever, and that's the key to this thing. These creatures being able to move back and forth without having any problems, because when you are in the woods and you hear everything's great, and then it goes quiet. Most people don't know that clue, and that's when. And you can't. Most of these are state forests or federal lands, and I know it's easier to. I don't have a firearm because I'm in New York City. Once I get out of New York City, I will. I like skeet shooting. Don't hold against me. I love that stuff, and I think everybody should be educated in firearms, whether you want them or not. I mean, all my kids will be educated. My wife, she hates them, but she can use them.
Absolutely.
But if you take firearms to these areas, it's like a mandatory 1-year sentence in federal prison. You don't want that. You don't want to do the time down there. So you can't have much as far as protection. When we do investigations, a lot of times we hit federal land, state land, and also public property. Like,
are you carrying knives?
I carry
because you can carry a knife.
Right. I carry 2 machetes. One I can grab from the back, and one I can grab from the side quickly.
Nice.
And I carry 2 regular, like a survival knives, as they like to call them, and a couple others in different areas. And one other thing I do carry is a flare gun. Now, flare gun's illegal. Okay, it's a multiple purpose, and it's not for Bigfoot. Okay, I'll tell you why.
Fuck that guy.
Yeah, no, he's fine. Flare guns are, if you get lost, that's going to be a way to signal somebody. You need help.
Yeah, that's
the quickest way to get help. Someone sees a flare, like, okay, especially in like Jersey, you have water around.
Absolutely.
They'll say, "What's going on?" And also, if you come against something like a dogman, where they can take a 60-foot leap in a split second, you're not running 60 feet before they'll grab you, right?
Yeah.
What you try to do is you try to create a distraction so that you can get yourself out of and phosphorus burns. If you don't know that, try playing with Roman candles when you're 16 years old. Shooting them at each other, it's not a good idea.
Yeah.
And if there are any young kids under 18, I'm not responsible.
And as you know, that the Pine Barrens, tell everyone a little bit about the Pine Barrens and how easy it is to get lost, and especially get stuck in the sugar sand.
Oh my! So they say it's 25. Is it 25 million acres or 25,000 acres or something like that? It is a massive amount of woods and swamps, and they have this. It's like quicksand. It's like this soft sand, and it's like almost like in a bog type of thing, and you get sucked into it. I mean, that's, I think, what quicksand basically is. And you're going to struggle and struggle and struggle. It is not a hospitable place. It is listed as uninhabitable throughout the state. This is park recreation. And if you're really good at, like, an outdoors man or woman, whatever, it may be your spot. But you really have to pay attention, because you do have bear in there. You do have big cat in there. You have other, you can get lost in there really, really quick.
Yeah.
I mean, like, super quick. Like, I mean, you go in to a certain point, it just starts getting darker and things start bleeding into each other. And what's great is when you get into the woods, if you're not really familiar with wood sounds, it seems to echo around you all over the place.
Yeah. Yes.
Because you can get into a gully or and you could just, like, hello, and it's bouncing. You don't know where to go.
Yeah.
So
the acoustics of the Pine Barrens are weird.
Yeah, it's really, really strange.
Sounds that are far away seem very, very close. Yeah.
For instance, when I speak outside in my usual voice, it will echo. It's not. Right. There's nothing for it. It seems like there's nothing for it to bounce off of. But if I shout, or if I produce a loud sound, like if I bang something against each other, it will ping off of the trees and bounce back and
It
forth.
has a very metallic sound to it too. Yeah.
Yes, it's like a ring.
Right.
Yep.
Something that's very interesting also, if you live in Jersey, you know this, but if you don't know this, at one point in time, that whole area was underwater.
Yep.
And it's evident if you're driving from South Jersey to north or north to south, you'll start seeing you get a lot of clay at certain points on the highway, on the Garden State and whatever, and then it starts getting very sandy. That sand is the same sand you get at the beach. Because that was beach at one point. So that's why you're talking about the almost like the quicksand they have out there. You don't know what's underneath there. You don't know how stable it is. It's more stable than, I would say, Florida. Go figure. Florida is just like, we'll put a house here. Forget that. We'll put it over here now. They have all these, like this porous material there, pumice and whatever, and it just keeps going away. But another thing you have a lot of down there is minerals in your grounds. And what happens from that, I haven't checked out lately, but you can get some magnetic anomalies that take place there. So if you're going into the Pine Barrens with a compass or even an electronic device, it's done. Forget it. It'll be like the Bermuda Triangle. We have a couple of spots in New York State where it is such a strong magnetic force that it's stronger than the Earth's magnetic field, and it stops watches. So imagine being in there and like you're walking through, right, and you're using your iPhone or your whatever, the Google blah blah blah, the $10,000 new phone, and it has the compass on there, okay, and it does work normally without any type of internet, whatever. But if it sucks your battery dry or it just totally fries your battery because you go through a electromagnetic type of an area, you're done. You're gone. You're not coming out. You're going to be one of those stories on Channel 2 News. Two people went into the Pine Barrens. They haven't found them. But something that's very interesting, I'll tell you a story that I was told a year and a half ago. Oh, no, 2 years ago. I go down to the Jersey Shore. I have kids, so they want to go to the beach. They like the beach area, and they like Jenkinson's. So I'm plugging Jenkinson's at this point. I like it too. It's kind of cute. It's what's really nice. It's not like the overtop Jersey Shore type of stuff where everybody's, hey, it's more family oriented. So they happen to have a 7D, they have a theater there. It's called it's a 7D theater. So, and what 7D basically is now is like, they have the ability when you're outside. So you could be in the Pine Barrens, and if I have a 7D projector, I can project over your head what looks like a whale diving into water, and there's a splash. I mean, it's so lifelike and real that it will bug you. You won't even know that it's not. This is this is how technology is moving right now. It's virtual reality, but the reality is so real that it's as if one of us on this screen is not human. And it's just
probably Rob.
Could be him. It could be me sometimes. My kids and my wife say that at a point. So I'm standing there. I'm like, ooh, werewolf. The dog man. And someone heard me. He goes, dog man. And I started because my kids were like, I just so many rides I can go stand around and watch. My wife was with them, and we happen to have friends there. So I meet some older guy down there who lives in the area, and he tells me this story. He said, have you ever heard, about the dog man? So we started swapping, I investigate. I'm the director of New York State for the North American Dogman Project. Not my group. I just joined the group. I became the director with my buddy Al, and there's a couple other people. New York State's pretty big. And so we started swapping stories. He goes, well, there was I forgot where the camping is. There's a camping ground in the Pine Barrens. He didn't get really specific, so I've been trying to find this out. He says there was a family, husband, wife, 3 kids. They went camping on a long weekend in the Pine Barrens. And they go into the Pine Barrens Friday night. No one hears from them. So, people are calling. Maybe they got home late. They're going to work. No one hears back from them. So after 3 days after they are supposed to have come back from the Pine Barrens, like if you go on Friday, you come home Monday, they call like a Wednesday, like one of the in-laws call, or the mother or the whatever. They can't reach anybody. So they call the state police. State police go and investigate. They get to the Pine Barrens and they find very unusual tracks. And Dogman has a very unusual track. It's a hunch spot, and then you have these claws that come out. Usually it's a tri-claw. It's big. It's a big claw. Tracks. We have a track right now. Someone found it in Texas. It's 16 inches long. I'll try to get you the. Yeah. Well, that's nothing, because up in upstate New York, one of our friends, and she has her own investigation. She knows Bigfoot's up there. She was given these photographs from someone a little bit north of her, a 36-inch footprint.
What the fuck?
How deep was that thing?
Seriously.
It was very deep. It went on for a while, and I'll try to find you the pictures. And what I'll do is I'm going to send it to you on the Massing Geek the Twitter, and then you can disseminate. I got to find it, as I wasn't prepared for this portion of the program, but it's 36 inches. I can tell you right now that the 16-inch track that the guys found in Texas, you're looking at about an 8 to 9 foot tall creature.
Holy shit.
That's not a joke, or it's not even an overestimate. And you're looking at about close to 1,000 pounds. Okay? Something 36 inches long is going to be closer to 15 to 20 feet tall.
Yeah. Holy shit.
And these are valid tracks that she was investigating. It's not like someone took out, back in the early 70s, people were making fake Bigfoot feet. And trying to make, okay, these things have dermal ridges in it. I was able to see a little bit. It's not my case. So, but when it's all said and done, I'll be able to go up to her because I know her very well. And some people keep their stuff close to the vest. But I will share whatever I have with you guys. Very much. That's all we do. We get evidence. We throw it up raw. And then I go through it. And then I throw up what we found.
Shit.
And yeah,
I want to come out on one of your investigations. Holy shit.
We'll invite you out.
Cool.
There's one close to you I want to do. I want to do something in Manalapan. There's a church there where the blood comes back on the pew.
No shit.
Yeah, they've sanded it down 1,000 times and blood appears again on the pew. We'll go to that one. That's a good one. But I can take you if you guys are willing to, hike a little bit. It's a little bit upstate New York.
Absolutely.
And yeah, we'll take you into the woods and we'll fly you in from Utah.
There you go.
We'll take the Mormon Express right from Utah.
Mormon Express.
Whatever that airline is. And this is our grounds.
Spirit, probably.
Yeah, Spirit Air. Praise the Lord.
That's right.
We do take select people into the grounds. We love to take people in. It's just we don't like to reveal too much of it because we don't want people coming in like taunting and causing a problem.
Just disrupting. Yeah.
Gravity Hill. I know. There's a couple of places named Gravity Hill. I'm just telling you.
There's one in North Jersey. Yeah, there's a Gravity Hill in North Jersey. Yeah, and
then connected in North Jersey in the Nyack area, there's another Mystery Hill or Magnetic Hill or something like that.
That's up near the Wannock. The reservoir, that rift or whatever supposedly in the very fabric of reality. Up there by the Wannock Reservoir, yeah.
That is a very odd place, and that has a lot of stuff up there.
Yeah, it does.
We've done a couple of investigations in northern New Jersey. We big time Bigfoot and other things. I don't know. I think it's
old red eye.
Well, old red eye and old stink ass because some of them smell real bad.
Skunk ape, yeah.
Oh yeah, because you have the I forgot the munitions place there. Oh Jesus, it's like I think on Route 24. There's a big military base. They have a lot of munitions there. They blow shit up.
By Lakewood?
It's I forgot where it is. Near, I know it is Black Bear Golf Course because that's where we do our charity for children's cancer. For my group, we always raise money every year for kids. And it's near Black Bear, I believe. Or there's a mine. It's near the mine where you can go and get phosphorus. Oh man. I'm missing it because I haven't been there in a couple since this COVID stuff. I normally was up there. There's a mine up there. It used to be a very big campground for summer camps off of Route 24, and there's a mine you can go into it, and you can hunt this luminescent type of stones in there. If you bring a black light, they glow red and green, and it looks like like one of those black light posters. But they're actual stones. You can actually go in and mine it and cut it open, and they're geodes and stuff. But in that area, there's a big nuclear. Well, there's a big base there, and there's a waterway. There's a lot of UFO activity there because of what they're dealing with in that base. And when you have UFO activity, there is a correlation between UFOs and cryptids, specifically Bigfoot.
Really?
I am not saying Bigfoot's an alien. I do not believe that. I believe Bigfoot is actually a separate species, its own species, not related to Homo sapien, which is human beings, and not really related to the apes or chimpanzee line, which a lot of people say, oh, it has to be part of that. Gigantopithecus. No, it doesn't. There are plenty of these species that are very similar, but they are their own distinct species. And I can get into the story about our experience at our grounds, if you'd like. And I'll explain why I went from one point of view as a researcher into like, okay, that's possible. And so I'm going to go into that now because it kind of gels.
Right before that,
Yes.
let me ask you one quick clarifying question. You mentioned that book Bigfoot not being kind of like a split off, but rather being its own kind of line. Have you heard about the evolutionary phenomenon where basically this has happened in crustaceans, where 5 separate species of crab have evolved from 5 completely different lines of crustaceans, from like isopods to lobster-like creatures to things that kind of look like crabs when they first started, but they kind of look like spider crabs,
right?
And stuff like. Is that the same phenomenon?
I believe it is. It's similar to that phenomenon. There are other species or other types of animals and examples. And I have everything written down, and I apologize for being a little bit short on this, but I'm trying to. It's just from general research. Everybody wants to go into the apes, it's Gigantopithecus. It's Homo. It's the missing link between human beings, and no, it's not. It has a lot of the characteristics like those other crustaceans. It is its own separate being.
A different attempt for Earth to evolve this kind of creature.
Kind of, sort of, yeah. And
convergent evolution is what some people call it.
It's kind of part of that. You know what the problem is? I don't have a Bigfoot to prove it.
Right.
I think the government has them, captive someplace. So someone who's listening to it that works and has a security clearance is going, "Wow, this guy's onto us." Let's take him out. Shh, be quiet. Get him back to SeaWorld.
You're going to get knocked on the door in a few minutes.
Well, it's from all this different type of research that we do that. I originally thought, okay, great. It's one of the apes and whatever, and it could, it's just flesh and blood. And I mean, chimpanzees are 99.9%. We share the same characteristics. It's that one little percent that makes us go, versus like, hey, give me that biscuit. It's that much. It's a slight difference. And I'll tell you why. So a lot of people would come to us and tell us that Bigfoot talked to them telepathically. It's called mind speak, where they just communicate like, we're not moving our mouths, but I'm telling you, it's okay. I know who you are. Leave me alone. And you're communicating without actually using vocals. And I used to say, I'm always very polite. I believe people believe what they believe. I don't necessarily believe it. I have a little bit more of a science background. I'm not a scientist, but I have it. So I'm trying to get something quantified so we can recreate that experiment and say, here's real proof. Okay.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Right. So, and when you get that, it's like, I've heard it before and I'm like, okay. And then when we leave, I said, I think they have the full 6-pack, but they don't have the plastic thingy to hold it together. I just don't want to believe that. Mind speak, because I've never had it myself personally. But something that goes along with mind speak, as they just disappeared, as if they right in front of your face. So, we did an investigation at a lake. We did a day-night investigation upstate New York. There was 3 of us. It was my buddy Al, myself, and a friend of ours named Bill, who he had his own YouTube channel. I met him through the YouTube channel, and we wanted to go to this lake because there's high strangeness up there. There's these stones, these crazy, like they found these quartz stones that were shaped almost like a ball, not smooth or anything, but rounded, and that's something that's not really natural for a quartz stone. To get into this lake, we parked a quarter of a mile away, and then you have to walk in about a mile to get to the tip of the lake. Now, there was an accident at this lake, and nuclear material was spilled into it that the government cleaned up
Yeah, right. Or like all those super fun sites.
Yeah, no new taxes. Yeah, exactly. So then they made it into a park because nothing says, "Hey, I want to take my kids someplace," than radioactive material, right? I mean, I've taken readings there on a Geiger counter, and it was like 36. It was literally like in one moment of
That's
the wind
fucked
blowing.
up.
Yeah, I had like 15 years worth of X-rays in literally a second. I'm like, look, guys, we're dead. We're going to be dead soon. But you get to the lake, and then there's two paths. You can go to the right, and it gets to a go trail. You're going to kill yourself. There's no way to where we're going to the tip of the lake to get to that point without killing yourself. And then there's a path that goes to the left that kind of intersects with the Appalachian Trail. So a lot of people use it. So we went up that way. We did it on Halloween night.
Nice.
During a full moon and a meteor shower when the veil is the thinnest.
Holy shit.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. And my buddy who lives near the area has had plenty of experiences, rocks being thrown, tree knocks, a lot of Bigfoot stuff. If you talk to locals and indigenous people, they say there's a lot of high strangeness there. So he's like, okay, cool. So we go and we walk around this one part. We go to the tip of the lake and we set up camp there. And there's just 3 of us. Because we're going to do a day-night investigation. And we're not supposed to be in there after sundown. Park, it's really weird. You can be on the Appalachian Trail 24/7, but you can't be in the park there. So we had we were in a good zone. And if you looked at us setting up in this location where we were, there's my friend Al in the middle. I'm 10 feet to the right of Al, and this guy Bill is 10 feet to the left, and we're all in our own chairs. And Bill's just videotaping, and Al sides taking out his parabolic mic. He's hearing footsteps, and we're hearing eventually we hear what sounded like tree knocks. We hear a little bit of animal life. We hear dogs barking. Not a problem, right? And as the night starts to creep in, it's getting darker. We start doing tests, and I have a crystal skull that I carry on me. His name's Scully. He's a good guy. He's been with me for forever, and I'll break Scully out too because he's got to breathe every once in a while. And Al has a rose one, and we're trying to see if the energy from these, the crystal skull, can help. We can get some readings off it, maybe help guide us into what's going on in the area there.
Yeah.
So, here's Scully. I don't see if you can see him. Get some light off of him. That's my crystal skull.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can see him now. Cool.
How's it going, Scully? And I don't talk to him, actually. I just do that as a joke.
Yeah.
Really, seriously. There's some people I've met in this field that do talk to people like that. So we started doing some tests. So I was checking with, I was doing Geiger counter. I was doing metal detector. I was taking EMF readings. I was taking tri-field, everything you can do. And then at one point we put our stones together on top of the quartz. So his was on one side, mine was the other, and we're taking readings, but nothing was there. We hit it with laser pointers, nothing happened. And then we started playing around with Tibetan singing bowls. And we have an app for that. We have real ones that we took out and we were ramping up, and then I have an app that goes through like 12 different tones on the singing bowl scale. And so basically what happens is I'm ramping it up and you can feel the pressure building. So it's like if when it's going to rain, you can smell it coming.
Yeah.
But there's a pressure. You feel the heaviness. It's getting darker. So we call our psychic in Arkansas, and she's trying to talk to us, and it sounds like she has marbles in her mouth. She can't talk, like Bell's palsy. She can't say a word. So we're like, okay, whatever. We cut that off, and we can start feeling the tension. So each of us, eventually, we go back to our seats. It's getting darker and darker and darker. And now I'm thinking to myself, started hearing footfalls.
Now, where is this?
This is in upstate New York.
Upstate New York. Okay.
Yeah, it's in Dutchess County. And I started hearing footfalls, and I'm paying attention, and I'm like thinking to myself, like, well, if something comes from there, I can't run anyplace. I'd have to either, if I climb a tree and it's a bear, I'm dead. I'd have to probably go in the lake, but that's filled with nuclear waste, basically. I'm dead. It's fight or flight. It's like I'm going to be dead or fighting my way out. So I decided at this point, whatever I got to do. And you're hearing all these different sounds, and across the water from where we are, we're right at the top of the lake. You hear tree knocks, and then you hear some tree knocks a little bit closer, and more in our direction, but not too close. You hear footfalls, and in one moment we're hanging out there, and the next thing you know, you hear woot, 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 like really big woots from this. Like, I don't know. This thing was huge. It reverberated off your chest. And I immediately got up, and we were all looking around. We had full spectrum, infrared, FLIR, regular night cameras. We caught nothing. We have like a 3 million candle watt, a light. We looked around, nothing.
Oh shit.
So like, holy crap, and I determined that whatever it was saying to whoever it was on the other side of the river, there's 3 of them, don't come this way, because I think it was a scout. And they're like, that's crazy. We started talking about it. We calmed down a little bit. We didn't move. So the next thing that happens, maybe 5 minutes after that, we hear something running right up behind this guy, Bill, who's on the left. If you're looking at us, he's on the left side, a bluff charge. Bill gets up. I get up. I'm to the right of my buddy, Al. Bill's ready to run for the hills. Now he's like done. He'd either knock himself unconscious, poke his eyes out, then knock himself unconscious, or just kill himself in general. So my buddy Al grabs him. I'm ready. I'm on the right side of Al. I have my machete out, and he's screaming at him, stay your ground. Stand your ground.
Shit.
So Bill's like, yeah, okay. He didn't bring anything with him. And we stood our grounds, and nothing came out. We looked again, nothing. We didn't hear it leave either. You understand? It's running at us.
You didn't see loud footsteps going in the other direction, which is, I guess, what we were waiting for.
Right? So we're like, okay, this is freaking us out. So at this point, we are we're amped up. The energy's amped up, and we find a moment to settle down for a second. Bill settles down. I settle down. Al settles down. And the next thing you hear is trees breaking, branches breaking behind me. I feel a thud.
Oh, shit.
Boom. And then you feel like you hear the roll kind of thing, hits the back of my chair, and I pop out of my chair, look down on it. It's like it's like a stone like this big.
Holy fuck.
We're talking like 400 pounds. And I'm like, what the F? But what's key about this was when it did the whoops, it did whoop, whoop right where we are. The third whoop took place 2 miles down, like at the other end of the lake. We can definitely hear where the direction was coming from. And it was from that point forward, and this is where I'm going to get in trouble, people, that I really went into the theory that Bigfoot is an interdimensional being. It has the only way you can go from point A to point B, okay, in a second, is if you can open up a doorway one way and come out another place. And that is explained in quantum physics for the most part. You can do that. You can travel from point A to point B in an instant. And I believe these beings are not only, and after that, more and more reports came out about them being light beings, dematerializing in front of people's faces. I think they use infrasound at this point. This is why you get a lot of blob squatch. We have yet to get a good picture of a Bigfoot since Patty, that footage. The Gill and Patterson footage. And the reason why is the camera they use had 0 electronics in it. All the cameras now have electronics. And I think Bigfoot knows what they are. They use
scrambling it.
Yep, infrasound to affect the visual wave and the infrared wave. Gotcha. And, I have to figure out, I'm talking to a couple of people that do a lot of light engineering, and I'm trying to figure out if I can put a filter on that will catch this somehow. Cool. Which would be great. But at that moment, okay, so we had that. As soon as that was over, instantaneously the air was free. It's like nothing ever happened. Like, woo, I feel great, It
was lifted, yeah.
Yep, it was lifted. So my buddy said, look, let's move to the next location. So we packed up everything, and I was about to go, and I have this little Olympus camera. It's underwater camera. But the reason why I bought it, it's great for we go see fireworks down in Jersey Shore. And it's great for capturing fireworks perfectly. there's some algorithm in there, and it does great night shots, even on zero light. So I put it in my pocket. I said, don't be that guy that misses out, so I put it in my breast pocket, and we're walking along the lake. And if you're at the tip of the lake, the top part of the lake, you can open up and you can see a beautiful sky. And we see like this orangish light going from north to south. And it's moving across the sky, no problem. And it was just unusual. It looked like an old helicopter light, but it's well past that. And you can see the stars. And I said, out of the blue, I went, what is that? And I pointed to it. And the minute I pointed, it was going like this. It stopped, and then it started heading right at us.
Oh, shit.
So my buddy Al is up in the front, and he's had experience with craft, and he doesn't know if he's been abducted, but he's like, please don't he's saying in his head, please don't let these guys get abducted. I don't want to have any problems, Bill's just sitting there like,
you don't need any probes.
Nothing. And I'm like, wow, this is getting interesting, right? So I whipped out the camera. It's about 20 feet above the tree line. So maybe it's about 15 stories up, 150 feet. Not making a sound, like a little bit of like a machine sound, but nothing much. And my buddy goes, hey, shut the lights off on our headlamps. And we shut the lights off. Then it hits us with a beam of light. Okay. But before that, I have my camera out and I'm filming it. And if I find it to you, I have it on YouTube on Bronxville Paranormal. And I'm filming it, and you hear me in there. Yeah, I know I'm filming it. It's not making a sound, but the video is really weird because I know that encounter with this craft where it's beaming at us and lighting us up. I know it took place. I would never have stopped videotaping at 1 minute 31 seconds. I would have videotaped till I didn't see anything anymore, and we moved on. I'm not going to miss this opportunity.
Yes,
and that video falls short. But if you listen to the video, put your headphones on because you're going to hear like a, and then you're going to hear like a musical note sound. So it was very odd. So in the video, my Al, one of my partner goes, time check. He goes, and Bill goes 9:15. So I said, okay. So we watch this for a little bit longer, and then it kind of disappears, and then we move on from there from 9:15. And to get to the next location, literally it's 10-minute walk. So we go there, we walk there, we set up. Bill sets up his camera, he's videotaping. I jerry rig some like separate screen for him. Al's doing a test, I'm doing a test. I'm seeing little things zigzagging, lights and like beings that look like going in between trees. And my buddy goes, it seems like we were there for an hour, right? But we got there, no more than like 10, 15 minutes after we got there, Al goes, time check. Let's go call Cindy. That's our psychic in Arkansas. Time check. I look at my watch. It's 10 to 12.
Oh, shit.
So we're missing about an hour and a half to 2 hours worth of time, which is crazy. He's like, really? I said, yeah, I'm looking at my watch. Then I checked my phone. I'm like, yeah, no, it's right. But I don't recall it being that much time since we've been there. It felt like minutes, maybe 20 minutes. And we get her on the phone. She goes, what the hell's going on with you guys? So, and then we start hearing people. It sounds like a family walking in the woods, like a hike. And we're going to come here and we're going to do, so we hang up quickly on her and we say to Bill, like, look, turn the lights on, let them see, there's 3 guys in the dark with the machetes. I'd be pretty freaked out if I had a family walking in there. Yeah, and we're waiting for them to come around the turn. So we turn the lights on. They don't appear at all. At all. So we're like, what the hell's going on? So we call Cindy back and we tell her what happened. She goes, those people aren't there. You're in a time rip. They're going to be there tomorrow. You're in a rip in time space. And we told her what happened with the other time,
That's cool.
like the light. And she's like, you guys, there's a lot of screwy stuff. She starts telling us what she's seeing while we're there. And we kind of confirm we're seeing different things, kind of like the woods have eyes. But different type of beings there, like elders and little elemental type of like gnome type of things. I'm like, I'm not believing
Aaron
my
Clary,
eyes.
what?
Yeah, just little gnomes, and I'm looking, I'm like, okay, am I really seeing this? And we were seeing it. That lasted for a few more minutes and it kind of got late and we said, let's go. And when we walked out, we discussed, we were like, wow, that was an uneventful night. As if nothing ever happened. Because normally we go to like a diner afterwards, get something quick to eat. We discuss what you see. But none of us did that. We all just went our separate ways. I drove back to New York City. He drove back to, where his house was. And For some reason, I remember driving home. I'm scanning the skies and I'm just looking. I'm constantly looking, not knowing why. So the next morning, I wake up. My wife, my kids are gone. She went over to her mother's house, and I'm on there, and I got this really weird metallic taste in my mouth. So I go to my bathroom. I look in my mouth. It's like I ate a Smurf, right? My mouth is freaking blue, and I'm like, what the hell is? I had a PB&J. That was it. And I'm spitting, like I have blue phlegm, and I'm like, okay, this is crazy. So I get on the phone and I call my buddy Al. I'm like, Al, I have this metallic taste in my mouth, a little bit of a bump in the head. But is you notice anything weird? He goes, I woke up, there's like this hard stuff in my lip. I said, you know what? Call Bill. So he goes to call Bill. When he's calling Bill, my wife comes in, and she let me sleep late. So I sleep in whatever shorts and no shirt on. And my kids go, oh, Daddy, what happened to you? And I'm like, what do you mean what happened to me? And I have a bruise on one part of my body on the top, and then another one on my left.
You're like, oh, we heard the banjo twang.
I did not hear the banjo twang. I didn't hear anything, and I'm like, there was none of that. There was no dueling banjos that night. And I'm like, holy crap! And I'm looking at it, and they took a picture of it, and then I call Al back, and I said, actually, I'm about to call him back. He's calling me, and he goes, what's going on? You got to hear this. He goes, wait. Bill woke up in the middle of the night. He went to his mother's house, screaming in terror, freaked her out for an hour. He has no idea why. So that basically, I told him about my bumps and stuff like that. But we decided at one point that if we're going to do any type of regression on this day, we're going to do it together. And while everybody went not their separate ways, we still do investigations. I sent this footage out to a guy out in West Coast who's been abducted several times. He knows very well what takes place, not only abducted by aliens, but by the military. And that's a total different story. I said, Derek, take a look at this video and tell me what you think. And he comes back to me, he goes, you guys are downloaded. I said, what? He goes, you're downloaded. I said, well, what the hell does that mean? I said, what, they took information from us? He goes, no, they didn't just take information from you. They gave you stuff. And I said, well, we're thinking about getting
shit.
No shit. This is what he's telling me. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess so. If you're going to steal something, you might as well give something back, whatever. I'm like, it's not the lottery numbers again. But back on this, he goes, I said, well, we were thinking about getting regressed. What's your opinion of that? He goes, do you sleep well at night? I said, yeah. I said, do you have nightmares? I said, no, I don't have nightmares. I sleep pretty good. He goes, don't get regressed. You'll never be able to close that door again.
Oh shit!
So I have yet to get regressed. Al is yet to get regressed. I think Bill's yet to get regressed. Al was going to get it, and I was going to get it through Rosemary Ellen Guiley, who's pretty big in this field. Unfortunately, Rosemary passed away early in the year. But you know what? I'm pretty good. If I don't want to know anything they were doing.
Yeah, like I'm okay.
We're good.
I don't feel too strange. I'm good on it. Leave that alone.
I don't feel any pain in the rear. I'm good. I don't want to know.
There's no probes. There's no
Yeah, and just so everybody's paying attention to the probe thing, the reason why they probe men, they don't probe women, is because that's how they get your sample. We're talking about sperm samples, and that's the quickest way. And if you go to medical school, they'll tell you the same thing. But yeah, so I'm good with that. The only thing I want to know is if I do have alien children, I just want their social security number so I can get the tax break. And other than that,
tax break. Yes. There you go.
He was born in Zeta 5, but I have a social security number. Yeah,
he's clear for citizenship.
Yeah, we'd like to get him a citizenship, and don't mind that
see if you could demand some child support.
That would be pretty interesting. We always joke around, like, I'm like,
that's what the download was for.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm wondering what the download is for, because something does take place. I do something. It's called remote viewing. I don't know if you ever talked about it. It's where you can be in one location and consciously use your travel to any place. And it seemed, I was alerted to that ability officially around the time before the investigation, just before the investigation. I wasn't one of those, like, I hope I have psychic powers. No, it's like, This is something I used to do on a bus going back from home from school. I'd sit in the back of the bus and I'd stare at one person. I always say, turn around, turn around. And, you know, you get these people, they turn around really creepy and they're like, you're staring at me type of thing. But that's part of, you know, some of these things. So remote viewing is just, I'm sitting here and I could project myself mentally, you know, I could see, smell, almost taste and touch by going to different locations.
Nicole Tesla used to do that too. Yeah.
Tesla used to do it, but officially, the best one was Ingo Swann. I know somebody who's a brother of mine who is very good with Ingo Swann. There's a lot of people, just McGonigal. The military was using it. The Russians were using it to try to get, you know, a leg up in a lot of this military stuff. But Ingo Swann was able to do a lot of crazy stuff with it. But I think that, and the fact that, you know, I always remember my dreams, and I don't consider them when you could remember details. It's almost as if they're experiences. So I think that's ramped up a lot since this investigation to Nuclear Lake. It's a pretty crazy thing what took place, but you know, and we went back about a year later when it was a little bit warmer, and in the back of where we were base camp, there's a little swamp area there. We found what we call a dogman's den, and I can send you a picture of it.
Yeah, please do. Cool.
I'm going to send you. So I'm going to send you. This is I must have looked at the photographs and the video of all investigations. Like I always look at it 100 times, from a 13-inch screen to a 16-inch to a 70, 80-inch screen. And the problem is, it's like kind of like doing your own editing. You miss stuff. So I'm going to send you some stuff. You're going to like this stuff. And you are going to see the original photo for the most part. And then you're going to see what someone, and I wasn't on the show when my buddy Al was doing his an interview. They caught this on the program. They caught it on the show. So I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to send you 2 of the den we found, and you will see as you zoom into this thing that there is something in there, something of which is pretty freaking hideous.
Sure.
Yeah, it's really, really cool.
And you always do investigations. You always do investigations in numbers, right? There's more than one, obviously, for safety.
I always do something. A minimum of 2 people. One, you know, someone has to have your back, and I'll have my back. That type of thing. And you just don't want to. You don't want to be in a situation where you're in trouble, and you need help, and you can't get it.
Yeah.
You know, and that's basically the bottom line of that. I don't want to have that problem. I don't want to be responsible for anybody that comes here. And it's like, you know, Johnny's stuck. What are we supposed to do? Just leave him. Leave him for dead. Like, I'm not going to do that.
Fuck
to
that
anybody.
guy.
Yeah, the hell with him.
Hell with him.
Yeah, well, we just want to make sure that, you know, these guys, you know, everybody comes back. And, you know, I got to go find this. I'm going to try to see if I can drag it into this program. That would be great. It'd make my life so much easier if I can do that. There we go. I'm going to send it to you. Here we go. Oh, please choose one. You are so particular. Twitter. Yeah, Twitter. So, Twitter's a pain in the, you know what?
It is.
Oh, God, they are. Yeah.
Oh, shit. That's fucking freaky looking. Holy crap.
That's the original. That's an original photo. And that's an original photo. And then this is what was discovered in the photo. If I can find it right now, I'll show it to you.
That's the original photo.
Right. And I'm just trying to find the one where they uncovered what was. Oh, here it is. Okay, so here's one. And that's one of those. And here's the other one. And clearly, when you look into this,
there's a ghost orb.
Well, there's a big orb there, but there's also in the last 2 that's circled by the guy. My buddy was doing an interview, and they said, you got this and you got this. And we went back to the original photos, and we're like, holy crap, how did we miss this? The top one, it says mark up on top of it. It clearly looks like, if you look, there's ears there and eyes. It looks like a canine. And there have been reports of, like we talked about, dogmen in the area. And the bottom one has a monkey look feel to it. And if you go to BronxvilleParanormalSociety.com, that's the URL. It's a lot to put in there. It's, you will find these exact pictures there. We've never touched them from the moment we put them in there. Oh, and then the last ones I'm going to send you right now. This is the Dogman's Den. This is the den we found behind our location. Now, I'm going to tell you straight up, if you pinch zoom on this thing, you will see what looks like a wolf or something in there, which we feel is a Dogman type 3. And there's a couple different versions of it. They go from being like a monkey to a baboon to an orangutan up to like a werewolf looking type of cryptid. But there clearly is a big eye there. There's a snout, and it looks like a wolf. It looks basically. So we like to share, and we share alike. So we're putting these up there for everybody.
Damn.
So yeah, I mean, my favorite in the whole entire thing, when you get back to your Jersey Devil, I don't think it's much the devil. I think it. Basically, what took place, there was a war that took place between Benjamin Franklin's almanac, Poor Richard's almanac, and the Leeds family that published an almanac beforehand. But there was a little bit of argument there, and when the Leeds the patronage didn't die, Benjamin Franklin posted an obituary saying that he did, just to piss him off, and eventually Benjamin Franklin's almanac won. So there was a little bit of an argument there, and they called him a devil, and they traced his lineage back to, I guess they looked at his family crest, which was it's a wyvern. It looks like the Jersey Devil. It's kind of like a horse with wings, but not like a Pegasus stuff. So I think there's a lot of fake stuff with that. But going into a legend and actual cryptid, I think what we have in Jersey and is the same thing they have in Point Pleasant. They have it in Maryland, and then now they have it in Chicago, which is a Mothman or a Dogman type of creature that is legitimate. The reports of these creatures flying and the red eyes and the whole thing, it's very, very Mothman-esque or that type of cryptid, more so than anything else. And when you get into the woolly fur, the only thing I can think of is a goat man that was reported in northern Maryland for the most part. But I don't think it's actually the Jersey Devil as much as it's a cryptid that's either Mothman or the Dogman, like a werewolf, which is odd. What do mummers have to do with cheesesteaks? I have no idea. I really don't know. I went to Pat's Geno's, by the way, and it was interesting, but I like my food a little bit cut. I was sitting there fighting with it. I'm a Red Crusader. Yeah, I'm planning on getting up to Ohio and West Virginia for the Mothman personally. I want to go check that out.
What are we talking about now? Mothman?
Well, I was just saying that I find through my research, I think this cryptid, if you look at the eyewitness reports, it's more Mothman-esque than it is Jersey Devil. There's a lot more similarities of a bipedal creature with red eyes and claws and wings, and it attacks the cars like the taxi car driver. There's a couple of the kids that were attacked by driving on some of the Garden State, I believe it was, by some winged creature. Mm-hmm. And the only thing that really comes to mind is what they had in Point Pleasant, and now they have this winged humanoids flying around in Chicago. I guess it's all that gangland violence out there. But someone's mentioned fact checking. Look, this is just research that we've done. We've seen some things. And when you talk about Bigfoot, Sasquatch, a werewolf, ghosts, EVPs, all this stuff, and UFOs, I mean, I don't know where you could fact check it. I'm telling you from my own personal experience. When I do presentations, the first one I like to do is I always show you my own personal videos I've taken of craft. They're legit. The last one I took was in Van Cortlandt Park. It lasted 5 minutes and change. It was a UFO. There was multiple witnesses. And if you slow the video down at one point, in a split second, some other big craft opened, is there. And it looks like it has a landing bay, like literally. And then it disappears. So I don't know where you can go fact check it. I mean, you could, a lot of people use these things for tourist traps, but footprints don't lie with derma ridges in it when you get to Bigfoot. It's kind of hard to fake derma ridges. It's kind of hard to fake some of the other elements that go along with this creature. As far as UFOs, yes, I do agree that there's a lot of drones being used today that are mistaken as UFOs. But when you see things pre-drone, it's it's better. Like my wife now, which is my girlfriend, she saw something, and to this day she says it was just an air balloon or whatever. I'm like, no, it wasn't.
A weather balloon.
It was the size of a giant stadium flying over the car. Weather balloons aren't that big. Seriously? I mean, it was ginormous in Connecticut, and she just doesn't want to believe. So you're going to have people that believe it. You're going to have people that will believe anything. It doesn't matter. But they're going to have people that really believe it. They're going to have people that have experienced it that definitely believe it. And then you're going to have the naysayers. It's like everything else in this world.
I've told Rob this too. My flight instructor believed he was abducted by aliens as a child, and he wrote a book about it too. So, well, made for an interesting flight instructor. Let me tell you that.
I went to. They made me go to a heart doctor for some reason, and I mentioned about aliens. He goes, and he was about to tell me something, and I think he caught himself, and he walked out. But I'm going to stop his ass and one day and say like, no. Yeah, you don't walk out. I was joking around. Like when I go to the dentist, my friend's a dentist. I just went there today, and he goes, I'm going to give you an implant. I said, let me ask you, what do you think the aliens are going to think about that? And he goes, and he's usually like, well, screw them. You need one anyhow. So, yeah. But I have something on my leg. I don't know if it is an implant. It's weird, but maybe I'll go investigate it later on. It's not, not on my. It's. I don't think I was abducted. I'll tell you that. We do have missing time, but I don't know if I was or wasn't, and I'm good. Like I said, I really don't want to know. I don't want to relive, a bad experience.
Seriously, and you value your sleep. I mean, let's face it.
Yeah, what sleep I get these days. I mean, it's kind of hard to sleep at this point. But I always do. The way we've always done things we started the New York State UFO Project. We started a New York State Sasquatch organization because some people in the paranormal don't like the fact that you do everything. So now we have to break it down into little groups. But we did that because there's plenty of people we've been in contact with that have had an abduction experience by something they call a reptilian, looks like a reptile. They're freaked out. They don't know what to do, where to go. So we have these live meetings at different points, lower state and upper state, to let these people come in and say, look, there are other people here that have had experience like this. You don't have to talk. You can just sit there, just listen. And then eventually, after like a year or two, they open up. And when you hear the stuff that they're going through, where their kids are being abducted too, and their kids go, and they tell them like, look, you're not my real mommy. My real mommy's up there. You're my temporary mommy. And like, how do you like respond to, if my child tried to pull that right now, it'd be like, not only am I your real daddy, but you're going to find out in a few minutes, okay?
Yeah, right. Put my
I'm
foot up your ass.
This, and this. Yeah. Go complain to your alien mommy. It's just very odd, and there's a lot of stuff that gels. So we do this to help people out, but we also do it for information. We never betray a confidence with anybody. If they say they don't want to talk about it, we will go circles around and we'll discuss certain things so no one knows exactly where the area is. I saw Beware Bryan Bowden. Okay. I don't know if I'm that bad a guy.
Where's that at?
I don't know. It's in one of these. I don't know if it was Red Crusader or somebody else. Maybe whatever. It's good. I don't need to go look for it.
Oh, he's talking about the Flatwoods. The
Flatwoods. Oh, yeah. You guys been watching Hellier, huh? Have you checked that out?
Yeah. What's that?
I think it's Amazon Prime. I think. The Newkirks put out a 2 2 seasons of a video. It's called Hellier, Hellier. It's very interesting. I've been trying to contact them about a werewolf case, a dogman case in upstate New York that took place in West Point, but they seem to be like they don't want to talk at this point. Hopefully, I'll be at the New Jersey Paracon, which is up in the middle of the state.
Okay,
and it was supposed to be this year. I was there last year, but this year because of COVID, they canceled. But it's going to next year. I'll be there hopefully, and I'll have my own. I'll be the guy breaching UFOs with cryptids. So in one of the
I'll have to head up there.
Oh, definitely do head up there. I'll throw you guys T-shirts that we have. You guys give us whatever.
We'll do a live stream. Yeah.
Oh, that would be great. Hopefully they'll get us. They'll get us on, and we want to do a presentation. We want to present. So we maybe just be doing our own presentation at that point. I guess you have to be on TV a certain amount of times or whatever that the promoter. But we had great reception last year. People loved it, and I'll be up there. And if anybody has questions, I mean, I'm an open book. I say it like it is. If you don't like it, if you want to call me on something, if we post something and you found out we were wrong, we'll agree with you, and if we can figure it out, and we'll take it down.
Yeah.
I'm not here. I want answers.
Exactly.
That's it. I think we all do what we do because you want answers on stuff. I mean, it's also fun in certain aspects of it. But you want some answers. I mean, it's kind of like when you go in the woods and you're playing D&D or whatever, and like, what kind of sword do I have? Do I have Thor's hammer? No, I don't. Okay, you've got a generic orc sword with you. I'm like, well, that sucks.
You're screwed.
Do I have any spells? Nothing. No, you haven't. It gets to those moments, and it gets to some depends moments. But when you survive it and you come back out, the first thing we always say to ourselves, no one's going to believe us. No one's going to believe us. But it's all up there. Go take a look. If you like it, like it. And that's what we keep doing. I mean, I'll keep searching for it. Cool. It's better than sitting in your house, with a fake mask on.
Absolutely. Fuck yeah.
I mean, my kids, they come out. I'm like, take your mask off.
Yeah.
But like, I don't care what they say. If you get outside and you're away from people, you're not in an elevator or a restaurant or whatever, and people are like, you should be wearing a mask. I said, well, you should get your teeth fixed. I have nothing wrong with my teeth. They're gonna be. You don't need. Look, do what's right for you, but you're killing yourself by wearing masks.
Exactly.
At this point, if you're outside and you're away from people, you don't need it.
No, we totally agree. Yep.
So my kids just wear like what they say in South Park, nice chin diaper.
Yeah, basically.
Those guys are great.
Take the diaper off your face for fuck's sake.
Exactly.
Jesus Christ. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're in agreement there.
Amen.
Yep.
But any other, if you guys want to know anything else, I'm on every social media. I mean,
I was about to say, where can everyone find you?
I'm on basically everything: Twitter, Gab, Facebook. I kind of got kicked off of Facebook for a little bit. I posted a racy.
That's kind of a good thing. I think that's a positive accomplishment.
I'm a seasoned pro in Facebook jail.
Nice.
You have to have multiple accounts. So I'm on Facebook. We have the Bronxville Paranormal Society website. Right. We do have the New York State UFO Project website. I'm going to redo it because I want to do a little bit more, a bigger report. If anybody wants to report some stuff, we have different hotlines associated with each one of those. Mm-hmm. Even though my buddy Al, who's like my paranormal brother from a different mother, says he's retired. I volunteer him for everything. It's like he doesn't even realize. Like on Friday, we're getting tattoos. He has no clue about it. So I'll volunteer him, but I'm everywhere and I'm pretty much approachable. You can PM me. I get friends requests all the time, and I'm like, I don't know who these people are. Yeah. Well, what's cool about Twitter is you can follow someone without really just connecting. You can follow, then you can, like you say, okay, you can follow, but I don't want to be messaged by you, but you can still comment on my stuff. So it's kind of cool that way. I used to live in that house. And that's our podcast. It's on Podbean. Or if you say, hey, Google, play me Inside the Goblin Universe, or hey, Siri, And that's Ron Murphy there. His name is Ron, the crypto guru Murphy. He got that from Dave Scott on Spaced Out Radio. It's a great show.
You're gonna be on a TV show soon, aren't you?
I was on Into the Unknown. It's on the Travel Channel, hosted by Cliff Simon, who played Baal in Stargate.
Oh, cool.
He's a really, really great guy. I've been like, Cliff, you need a cryptozoologist for next season, right? And he's like, yeah. I'm trying to. It's not about being on TV as much as it's about being in locations I can get to. Their time. You know what I'm saying? I can.
Fuck yeah.
And I could use equipment that they have. Like, no, we need that $30,000 drone.
It's a good resource. Yeah.
We need it. Yeah. So that's the only reason why. I've done a couple of filming recently for a couple of different documentaries based on UFOs. Which is hopefully that'll come out soon. We get these calls. You want to be in a film? Like, sure, why not? Let's go. Whatever.
Cool.
But I guess if the more and more I get to be seen on TV, maybe I get to move to the big room. When it comes to like some of these conferences, it's like, oh my God, that's Enrique Palazzo. Yeah, no, from whatever it is. But I do my own show on this. We do Inside the Goblin Universe.
Okay.
Ron's been going crazy. He lives in Western PA. He's got 5 kids. Don't ask. And it's just insane. It's just like, they make these things called condoms. I'm just going to throw it out.
I was about to say, there is birth control. We're not.
Well, he really is a devout person to his religion. And he's a great, great guy. Knows everything. If you want to read some stuff, his books are on Amazon. Our books will be on Amazon. But I do a program called, and I had to change it. It was called Nobo Boomy until my buddy out of Newfoundland goes, "What's this Nobo Blow Me stuff?" And I'm like, "No,
no Blow Me,
totally different podcast."
Yeah, right. That's on the X channel.
It is on the X. I wish it was. So I changed it. What it stands for is Nobody But Me, and it's my own show where I get some people on there. I had this great hoodoo. She practices hoodoo and voodoo, Miss Aida. And she was fantastic, talking about how to protect you, when you go someplace, so you don't get the evil eye. And that's a great episode in there. And actually we did a premiere episode with Al for the Bronxville Paranormal Society in New York State UFO Project. Like, we were going to just kind of like put everything in one. And I was going to try to do it like once a month, but Mr. Wonderful retired, so we haven't yet to do another podcast. But it's a good show. It's just we just keep doing what we're doing, like you guys. I mean, I can't thank you enough for having me on. I mean, it's a great show.
Absolutely.
You guys did great.
Thank you.
I don't know, if do you ever get out to Rob in Utah?
We just had a meetup 3 weeks ago. Yeah,
that's cool. I have yet to be to Utah. I want to go out there. I'm trying to hook up with the Skinwalker Ranch people.
Oh, cool.
So I want to go out there.
Nice.
Although we just got a case in New York from a woman in upstate New York, it's seeming like a Skinwalker Ranch type of case in upstate New York right now.
Oh, well, okay.
But I'm in Jersey all the time.
Oh, cool. James and we're in South Jersey. We're like about 15, 20 minutes from each other. So we would definitely be interested in doing like a masculine geek sort of.
You know what I want to do? Have you ever gone to the 2 things I want to do? I want to go to there's a Jersey Devil Festival.
Yep.
That they have in Jersey. And then they also have something that's near and dear to my heart that I want to introduce my kids to, Krampus.
Yeah.
They have a Krampus thing in Asbury Park.
Yep.
And I think Krampus needs to really come forward.
Yeah,
we need more Krampus in there.
Yeah, more Krampus, absolutely. Yeah.
Lots more Krampus.
I love Asbury Park. There's a Cranberry Festival in Chatsworth. There's all kinds of stuff in South Jersey. A lot of people don't know about. So
are you near Cherry Hill?
Yeah, that's like 2 town, really 1 town over from me.
I'll tell you a crazy story because I'm a food guy, hence the body. So there used to be a restaurant I got introduced to it called Red Hot and Blue.
Yes. Okay? Yeah, it's now defunct and they had great blues there. Yes.
Right. Okay. But what was really cool about Red Hot and Blue was their sides were freaking awesome. Yeah. And they had the best dry rub ribs I've ever tasted any place.
Yes, absolutely.
So what happened was I found it first in DC. My buddy took me to it, and you sit there, eat a rack. It's freaking awesome. Good blues, the whole line. I love the blues. I play the blues, whatever it is.
Nice.
So I discovered that there was one in New Jersey at exit 4, I believe it was. So
it was on Route 38 by the Holiday Inn. Yeah.
Well, here that was my problem because my buddy who lived in northern New Jersey was dating somebody. And he says, you want to go on a double date type of thing. I said, great, I got a great place to eat. So we drove from northern New Jersey down to southern to go to Red Hot and Blue only. Okay, nice. And people are like, "Are you crazy? How much longer?"
No, that's
about
awesome.
An hour.
That's awesome.
It's all about driving for food.
Absolutely.
So I got lost. I couldn't figure out. I went there once. Coming back from, I dropped something off in Philadelphia for my wife's company at one point, and I'm like, I couldn't find it. So I get to a point where I get off the exit, and I'm by, I think, the Franklin Bridge, which goes into some.
Franklin Bridge goes into Philly, yeah.
Yeah, some really weird bad ends of Philly. It's like you don't want to go there. So I get to the toll guy and I'm like, yeah, I'm trying to find this restaurant, Red Hot and Blue, and I got to turn back over. And he goes, okay, look at me. So I'm looking at him. Yeah. He goes, well, you want to go over there? And so I started looking over there. He goes, no, man, look at me. So I started looking at him. So everybody's looking at this. This is going on for like 5 minutes. He's telling me where to go. I'm going to go to the right or underneath the highway, come back up. And he goes, when I tell you, I said, okay, so you're going to go now? No, when I tell you. He's getting really animated. I'm like, and everybody's looking at me like, is this guy crazy? He goes, okay, now hold on. He goes, this is blah, 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 whatever. Okay, shut him down. Bing, 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 bing. Shut down the whole freaking plaza so I can go make a U-turn. And when I awesome. Coming out, this is great. So I come out of that little tunnel where you can go to the right, you go underneath the highway, and you come back out, and I pull up next to this cop. He goes, they shut this down. I said,
I need to get the Red Hot and Blue.
I said, I'm trying to get the Red Hot and Blue. You mean the restaurant over in the hotel? I'm like, yeah. He goes, oh, yeah, go out there. They shut you down because you want to go for Red Hot and Blue? I said, yeah, they've got great dry rubs. He goes, you're out of your mind. Get out over here. So we went there. It was great, though. It was really worth the trip. What sucked was driving back to northern New Jersey afterwards.
Oh, yeah, after being like, because now you're tired.
I'm just
you're
like,
fucking tired. Yeah.
I wasn't drinking that night. I'm like, oh, God.
But still from the food. You're like at a coma, the food coma.
Totally.
Oh,
my wife, she's sleeping, and my buddy and the chick is sleeping in the back, and I'm driving like an idiot. I have to call my buddy in DC. I'm like, dude, you got to talk to me. I'm gonna drive off the road right now. But he respects the fact that I will drive. I will go right now 85 miles to New Haven for pizza if it's open. 100%.
Absolutely.
I know where to eat. I got to tell you, but it was really, really good. Too bad it's defunct.
Right. It was such a good rib. It closed down about a year or two ago. I was really pissed.
It's mismanagement. It was a great place, though.
Pine Barrens. We got
a
wonderful wings place down here called the Piccolo.
James, you're like really low and shit. Talk closer to your mic. God damn it.
Ooh.
Piece of shit.
I think I see the problem.
There you go.
Is that better? Yeah,
you gotta talk closer to your cock.
My God. No, if you are nearby the Pine Barrens, basically, if you're down by the Atco Raceway or anywhere like that, we have a wonderful spot called the Piccolo just down the road.
Oh, I know about that. Yeah, no, I've seen that place. I didn't stop in it at the time.
It has
a little bit late.
Wings, yeah.
Oh yeah, no.
If you come down here, wings are on me. I got to get Vince and
Carl never Carl, if you're watching or you watch this later, you never check your goddamn email.
And do not ask me, do not write me an email to ask me to call you.
Yeah, exactly. Just respond to the email, for fuck's sake.
You're on the email. Just respond to the email with the contents of what would have been that video call.
No, I think we will have a Masculine Geek, like sort of camp, not sort of, but we'll have a Masculine Geek camping trip in the Pine Barrens, and we'll do some Jersey Devil hunting.
Definitely look for those body cameras.
Yeah.
You can get good ones for $99, but it's something to carry with you. They last for like 12 hours. So, nice. I mean, if they find bits and pieces of you, at least they'll have video.
Exactly. You'll be able to find out what happened.
Exactly.
You could go kayaking and canoeing.
They are waterproof.
Yeah. We could do that. We could actually do a kayak backpack trip. Yeah. Because one of the trips I like to do is Badstow to Lower Forge. That's about it. It's easy. It's about 8-9 miles. But cars and foot traffic, you have to do foot traffic or canoe or kayak. You can't get to it by car. So, yeah.
Cool. That sounds like a plan.
Absolutely.
Yeah. The last time I went kayaking or water rafting, I almost drowned.
It's always good.
It tells me about it. But
there you go. You have to get a little more kayaking under your belt.
Well, what we'll do is we'll circle around, keep the contact information going, and then
Absolutely.
if I'm down in there and I get to go in that neck of the woods, or if I got something over there and you guys want to tail along, meet up,
please.
we'll go. Yeah,
right.
it's not a problem.
I'll shoot you my phone number. That's cool.
Cool. I'll do
All
the same thing on the Twitter thingy.
All right, please. And what the kids are doing. So on
yes,
Twitter,
I have Dr. Pepper and rum, by the way. Sorry, it was a comment. Rum is my new drink.
Rum is awesome. Kraken rum, actually. Kraken rum.
Kraken. But you have to have one bottle in the fridge because it's totally different when it's cold, and it's awesome.
That is true. Yes, it is. It augments the taste quite highly.
Oh my god, it's so good. I'm gonna have some of it after this.
Cool. I know, right? All right. So, you send me off. We'll trade phone numbers, but send me all the links to all of your social media, everything that you're doing. Throw that in the Twitter, and then I'll throw that later up in the show notes and also up on the website.
You got it.
Cool.
Not a problem. It's been a pleasure, gentlemen.
Absolutely.
Hopefully we'll meet in real life.
Yes, we
without
will.
Having to fight injustice.
Exactly. We'll make that happen. That will absolutely happen. All right, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Masculine Geek number 91 with Bryan M. Bowden, and I hope you've enjoyed it, which I think you have, and we'll have you back on again. And you'll probably see a joint Masculine Geek, some kind of paranormal cryptid adventure sometime in the future.
That'd be great.
Yep. Absolutely. So everyone, keep the fires burning, keep the lead flying down range, and until next time, we'll see you soon.
Bye.